Owen, first one in. Nice to see you, my friend. Matrix Media, hello. Nice to see you in as well. It's a sad day for Flat Earth, it really is, I have to say. Bible Literalist, hello. Nice to see you in. Is there audio? I hope there's audio. Can you guys hear me? Looks like the audio's working. Let me just ask if the audio's working. There we go. Right, okay. Right, let's see who has joined me. Okay, so we've got Roxanne. Roxanne's joined me in the chat. Do you want to say hello, Roxanne?
Hi everyone. Hi Renty. Thanks for having me, darling.
That's Roxanne, the globalist denier, in case you hadn't come across the channel before. I think Tony's got the link as well. I'm sure he'll be joining us at some point soon.
I'm hearing absolute solidarity with what you're here to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, we're going to be talking a little bit about Patricia Steere right now because essentially she's closed the channel down. She's removed herself from all kind of media in every respect: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You know, it's gone. All her work for the past 3 years has gone. And we had a chat with her before. We found out the nooks and the reason for why she actually left, and it's horrible. It's horrible to think that somebody was treated the way she was treated by the people that should have been supporting her and hasn't. And I am absolutely disgusted with some of the flat earthers behind this, the people that have perpetrated this. And I have so much empathy for her and the struggle that she's gone through. And, you know, I absolutely wish her so much greatness in the future. You know, she's freed herself from this hatred that has been piled upon her. And I'm sure she's going to have a very nice life going forward. But Flat Earth has really lost. Flat Earth has lost today because of the Flat Earth trolls, specifically Antonio Subirats, specifically Pete Shea, specifically people including Eric Dubé, people including Dell, Shed Rage Dell from Beyond the Imaginary Curve. These divisive figures are the ones spreading the rumors, the disinformation, the attacks, the hatred. And it's time to call these people out. This can't go on anymore. People are being driven away, good people, from Flat Earth because of monsters like this. Roxanne.
Can you hear me?
I can, yeah. Anything to say?
Yeah, I feel that I've been subject to this myself about a year ago, and I feel that it's incredibly uncouth for those that consider themselves to be awake without any evidence to make presumptions about people that ultimately end up in defamation of character and slander with no evidence.
Anthony says the link isn't working for some reason, so let me send him the link direct. 1 second, Tony. I'll get this link to you right now. It's a very somber day, seriously, for Flat Earth. Tony, we were all there. This is heartbreaking. Flat Earth data. You just said that Patricia wasn't good for Flat Earth, and for that, not only have you had your moderator status removed, but you have been permanently banned from this channel. Bye-bye. You are not welcome. Gem Panda, the Flat Earth denier, again, you are permanently banned. And this is a theme that's going to go forward. If there's any Flat Earthers right now that wish to have an issue with Patricia or unsubscribe me over this, hell yeah, go ahead, unsubscribe. I don't give a motherfucking shit, because you drove her away, and we need all the help we can get right now. And your little troll session calling her all these names under the sun, that she's some kind of fucking transvestite, you're disgusting. You want to unsubscribe, go ahead. Get rid. We don't need you here. This movement is going forward, with or without you.
The train's leaving the station regardless. The train's left. In fact, the train's left the station regardless. All of these kind of tactics to try and demotivate and stunt the actual fact that we're not living on what we're taught from going forward. It's not happened. But I do agree with what you've said there, Ranty. I think it's a sad day for the online community to have to lose a channel like that that's done that amount of work in spreading awareness, starting conversations, and also getting into the nitty-gritty of behind some of the people that have done some big things in the community. I, for one, enjoyed her interviews massively.
I did. I mean, I only had a few hundred subscribers, and she had me on her channel. She promoted me to the people that was watching. I gained maybe 50 or 60 subscribers, which back then was huge for me, absolutely massive. And as far as I can see, she only ever promoted small channels to try and give them a platform to actually make a little name for themselves. You know, you never know where somebody's going to end up on Flat Earth, you know. They start off with a channel, they might be good, they might just tail off, or they might be exceptional. And whichever way she did, she brought the little man to the table, and the little man made his own decisions after that. Patricia gave them a leg up, and you know, she was never but nice to anybody. Anybody that had any hatred towards her was just because of her looks, and I don't understand it, because she didn't even look like a man. What are you guys thinking about? Seriously. There was no proof for any of this. It was just one butthurt man's problem with the fact that his relationship broke down with her. He didn't like the fact that he'd been, you know, kicked, essentially, just kicked. You know, he didn't like that, and he set off on a campaign of hatred about her, and that name stuck. Pete Shea was instrumental in terming the phrase ramshackle vagina. What the fuck, man, Pete Shea? Man, you are history.
Not cool.
Because he's not stopped. He's relentless in this attack on ladies. I have some ladies in my chat, ladies that are moderators in my chat, and I'm not going to name them by name because some of them have appeared on my channel, and he doesn't like the look of them. So because they have, you know, maybe in the mid-50s, early 60s, and, you know, they're aging a little bit, for some reason he thinks they should look like Pamela Anderson in her 20s. And if they don't, then they're obviously some kind of transvestite. It's disgusting.
Agreed.
So there's a lot of people asking in the chat what's going on. Patricia Steere and the Flat Earth Hot Potatoes channel has ceased to exist. It has been removed by Patricia herself. So as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any online activity involving Flat Earth and herself has gone. And it's primarily, well, it's not primarily, but it's completely down to the Flat Earth trolls. It's not even the Globe Earth trolls, it's the Flat Earth trolls. Wow, I mean, I'm so fuming right now with some of these channels that think that they can just do this shit to people.
Look at the loss that the online community. So that's probably, in my, well, not in my opinion, I think evidently that is the biggest female channel in Flat Earth.
Yes, yeah. Totally. Nice to see you.
Oh, hiya.
Yeah, so let's just be really clear. It's people like Pete Shea with the ramshackle vagina quote, Antonio for encouraging it. Who else did she name? She named a few, but at the end of the day, I've always said that if I was ever to leave Flat Earth, it wouldn't be because of any baller. It would be because of people within Flat Earth. I don't get what it is. Half of Flat Earth is fucked because they're just batshit crazy. The other half are totally normal people. But it's the half that are batshit crazy, Antonio, Pete Shea, all the people that think that Patricia is A, B, or C. They're the reason why she's gone. And to be honest, they do more damage than any baller ever could. So if you encourage or support Antonio, Pete Shea, or any of the morons that basically hate people for no good reason, you're part of the problem. Turn away from it. Go to the people that are positive. It's not difficult to work out the people that are negative. It's blatantly obvious.
Keyboard Warrior, has Patricia actually given a written reason for shutting her channel down? Or is this conjecture? Well, the people on the panel right now, including Nathan, has literally just had an hour heart-to-heart with Patricia about why she did it.
Yeah.
And she gave us all the information that we needed. We've
had a first-hand conversation with her ourselves.
Roxanne, if you want to explain the reasons why she left, and this won't affect me, then it's literally from your mouth. So if you want to just say it.
So from what I can gauge, and I'll be quite candid about this, she has had more grief from people within the woke flat earth community than she has ballers, known ballers. And, for the amount of tranny hate that has been thrown her way by known channels that she's donated to, I will add, there's some channels out there that she's donated to in the past that have switched on her as well. And not only that, with Eric Dubé's recent upload as well of Fight the Flat Earth, where he's profusively attacking her as well. And as she said, it gets to the point where the straw is the straw that broke the camel's back. It's 3 years she's been putting up with this. And she herself said, can anyone remember the quote when she said, fuck it, I'm shutting my motherfucking YouTube down. How did she say it?
That's exactly how she said it.
She was let down by her words were she was let down by Mark Sargent's because she told Mark what the reasons why she was thinking of doing it are, and he totally diluted it and said it was because she couldn't take getting trolled, and she was like, "Fuck you." So Mark Sargent's partly because at the end of the day, right? This is where it's at. Patricia basically accepts that none of the ballers think that she's a tranny or that she's a whatever. It's only the flat earthers that seem to think that. The ballers don't think it. Everybody that I speak to on the baller side, they all know that she's not a bloke. It's embarrassing to be on the side of flat earth when you have someone as prominent as Patricia leaving because of people in flat earth. It's ridiculous.
It really is.
Can I just say to the moderators in chat, you have absolute power to remove anybody that says anything that's in regard poorly about this, because this is a subject it's powerful for every single flat earther that does content on YouTube, because we all suffer it. Tony suffers it. I suffer it. Roxanne, everybody suffers this.
I enjoy
it.
Life.
But in real life, it has an effect. It has an effect when they find out your telephone number or shit like that. They are phoning you, harassing you, constantly getting in touch with you. It's like these guys are relentless. The trolling is relentless. I can understand from Patricia's side, the hate she's had on every single platform she's been on has been abhorrent. For a lady that's in her mid-50s to put up with that shit.
I agree. I completely agree with you. Completely.
The thing is, right, at least the ballers have got a legitimate reason to hate and troll us, right? Because we fundamentally disagree with them. But what reason has any flat earther got to hate and spew vitriol against people on the same side as them? What the hell would that be all about? Listen, if we're struggling to work out the difference between science and pseudoscience, we've got to at least get the idea of people that are positive and people that are negative. If you can't work out that someone's negative and you're following that person who's negative, you're part of the problem.
Agreed.
Yeah, let me read that there, George Netanyahu. Ranty, this shutdown you FE have yourselves to blame in a way, but tolerating Pete Shea. I agree completely. I have refused to appear in any venue which Pete and PMARs are present, never have allowed their type. Do you know, it's rare that I agree with George, but on that one, I agree with him completely. Pete Shea is part of the problem. Antonio, part of the problem. Dogmatic Dell, part of the problem. All these people are negative vibe merchants. They're not there for good. They're there for division. What's his name? Dubay. Not there for good. They cause division. Why?
As daft as it sounds, George Netanyahu is perhaps... I instantly hated him because of everything that had happened...
with Brian Mullen. With
Brian Mullen. And yet, the more I speak to him and have interacted with him over the past few months, I see that, you know, he just seems like he's more of a goodie than a baddie. Do you know what I mean?
No, so he's a complete dick.
He's a complete dick, but yeah.
Complete dick, because let's put George into context, right? He complained to the licensing authority about Brian Mullen for what he considered to be was a safety-related issue for the public's concern on an issue to do with gravity, which we found out recently isn't really a force, but you can think of it as a force. But he still tried to get a guy fired because he disagreed with him on the internet. George Netanyahu is scum. That's the reality. Okay, you might have valid points now and then, but gravity is not even a force, and he tried to get the man fired. I don't think that's acceptable.
But going forward, I mean, after that, you know, after all that went down, and maybe he looked back and had some kind of remorse. I have no idea. But what I would say is that I've been on a chat with him just after an after show on Jose's, and he was giving me advice about how to do an observation up at Loch Ness, which, you know, I never even thought about how I could actually do it, and he gave me some really good advice. We started talking about the observation that Sean Hufford was going to do. Was it Sean Hufford or Sly Spark? I can't remember now. One of the other that failed, and ultimately, you know, we were all trying to come to a consensus as to how this observation could be done better, this experiment. And we tried to get in touch and help them out, and they didn't want to know. And it just seems like he's turned into one of the better Globers to have on side, because, you know, he provides. Well, I mean, the citation that he's done recently as well about the container and having gradients.
He tried to get a guy fired because he disagreed with him on the internet. What kind of fucking man is that?
All I'm saying is that, you know, there's good and bad in every community, but, you know, I'm not going to shit down his, you know, I'm not going to shit on him from a high.
Well, believe me, Ranty, he would not take a second breath at shitting over you.
Well, anyway, moving forward.
Guys, can you just reiterate again what the situation is with Patricia? There's a few, Charlotte and Paul, Flatastic, Ranty F. What happened to Flat Earth and Hot Potatoes? She's gone from Facebook and YouTube now. Do you have any ideas?
And Instagram.
Okay. To paraphrase what she said, and it is a paraphrase because we don't have a quotation of her doing this, but to paraphrase what she said was basically she had a great life before she joined Flat Earth. And when she joined Flat Earth, she entered into a community that she thought she would find a lot of support in, but she'd never suffered bullying in her entire life. And within a few months of being on Flat Earth, she got in touch with a guy called Antonio. They started dating, and after that, everything went downhill. The bullying started. She was called every name under the sun. The name stuck, this ramshackle vagina thing, this transvestite thing. The bullying was abhorrent on every platform, including big channels like Eric Dubé. And it got to the point where she just thought, do you know what? I've done my part now for 3 years on Flat Earth. And for my own sanity and my own health, I need to step away. And to do that, I need to clear my conscience and clear my accounts of everything to do with Flat Earth. She'll still be a Flat Earther, but ultimately she'll have no role going forward in the Flat Earth movement. And for that, I applaud her, because she's literally looking after herself, which is the best thing that you can ever do. The Flat Earthers lost, the community's lost, but she's gained from this, and it's just serving a massive warning to anything going forward, that if you abuse the people that that you're supposed to be supporting, there's every chance that they can run away and just say, I've had enough. That they can't keep doing this. You need to support the people that you love, the people that you support. You need to look after these people.
Yes, well said. Jason just popped in. Should be ashamed of themselves. They who consider themselves awake yet bully. It's disgusting. I agree. I feel, for one, the slander and defamation of character that Patricia has had to suffer and endure over the last few years is absolutely, and you said it, it's abhorrent. It's absolutely heinous and abhorrent that it's perpetuated for so long, and now it's got to the point where we've lost one of the biggest female channels in the online community. And all of her work, unless people have downloaded it, she acknowledged to us that she didn't download her work before she deleted the channel. So unless people have downloaded those interviews, where are those interviews now, guys? It's a massive loss today, the channel going. Massive loss.
Do you remember when we met in London and I spoke in front of your audience, and first thing out my mouth was words to the effect of, I can't stand all the hate and abuse and vitriol I get, and that's just from the flat earthers. And everyone laughed because it was humorous, but it's actually true. I get more shit from flat earthers than I do from ball earthers, and they hate me.
Yeah. But Be Here in Love says, I feel so sad for Patricia. What she's gone through is horrific.
What does Mark Sargent have to say about this?
I just want to say that Patricia didn't say. I know you jumped on that, but essentially she didn't throw Mark under the bus and say that it was all Mark's fault. It was literally the camel that broke the straw's back was that she'd opened her heart to Mark after Eric Dubé had done his little hit piece, and she'd explained all the reasons as to why she was considering shutting the channel down. And when Mark did his podcast, he basically made light of it and didn't actually get down to the nitty-gritty of exactly the deep-rooted reasons as to why she was feeling so low and lonely, and she was literally just desperate at that moment, and she needed some support, and Mark didn't give that to her, and that was the final straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak.
George says you need to control Pete and PMARS. Pete Shea, he must be on about. Jose finally understands the dangers of PMARS and has him banned. The same needs to be done with Pete. Pete disrupts every hangout he attends. I agree completely. I don't know why Nathan puts his arm around him. PMARS is scum. He should not be in any hangout anywhere because he's a dick. Neither should Pete Shea, to be honest.
I'm absolutely devastated because I feel like I didn't give Patricia the support that she needed. We rarely spoke about her. She was taken for granted in every way, shape, and form.
Not
people
really. We would defend her vehemently. If anybody like Jay came in and started talking shit, he would get stamped on immediately, stamped on his face till he bled.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm trying to say is that I feel like we could have been more vocal in our support for her. We were absolutely, when people came in and were talking about transvestites, of course we jumped down the throat and we gave them what for, of course of that. But we never did any, videos of our own in public support of her or any of the other people suffering this abuse. It's abhorrent. We don't need this in the community.
Agreed.
Shout out the divisive people that are basically stir up the shit for no good reason. Shout out to Pete Shea. Shout out to Del from Beyond the Imaginary Curve. Shout out to Eric Dubé. Shout out to, who else is there? Antonio Subarat. These are all the people that are just negative vibe merchants. Don't do anything good. All they ever do is stir shit. Generally, we don't get involved in it. We just keep away from it because it doesn't do anybody any good.
But this exposes a bigger problem that's underlying every single person that's a flat earth content creator, is that the pressures and the mental state that we're all suffering isn't always obvious to everybody. And by that I mean that the abuse that we get, the psychological abuse, the attacks, the phone calls, the real world attacks in the real world. People just assume that we just carry on, and it can just be batted off. But ultimately, we're all human beings at the end of the day, and every single little nick will eventually become a big wound, and that big wound will eventually bring every one of us down, unless we get some healing from people. We need people to look after us. We're only individuals. looking for the truth. You know, we shouldn't have to put up with this abuse.
Well, what does this mean? Someone's just put, Del is pro LGBT. Is that a typo or is that some kind of acronym? LGBT.
He's for the lesbian, so he's...
Right, I get it. Del is pro. The thing is, it doesn't matter whether you're pro LGBT or not. What matters is, are you being nasty to people for no good reason?
Agree.
On the same side.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right to be nasty to people like PMARS, who deliberately causes trouble. I think that he's scum. But if they're on the same side as you, and they're not causing trouble, they're doing good things, I don't get why anybody would challenge that.
I just want to know what Patricia did to anybody to make the hate so bad towards her, because I look at her channel and I never saw a single bad comment about anything.
Me neither.
She dumped somebody and he couldn't take it. That's what she did wrong. And it wasn't even wrong. I say that loosely.
And from that mistaken relationship spawned a community of hate towards her about her looks, her appearance, what kind of gender she was, her family, her dad, all that kind of stuff. I mean, what the hell? What are people thinking to go through this?
True.
What gives them the right to even think that that is acceptable?
Yeah. Jason Disbury says, shout out to all you disgusting transgender calling. Who the fuck are you to call out these women in a disgusting manner?
The crazy people in our community think that she's CIA or disinfo agent. I've not heard anybody call her disinfo. I've heard loads of people calling her. Well, I've heard one or two people continuously calling her an agent because her name's Patricia, and at the end of a Patricia, it's CIA, isn't it? And then Steere, something to do with a bull. I don't know where that comes from, but obviously it's something to do with Pete Shea. Not bad.
Antonio. So who's this Antonio person?
Subirat's the ex-boyfriend. He's a troll.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat room and everyone's going, fuck Antonio. Antonio looks like and Antonio is the person that is slandering and defamating her character, right?
It's the ex-boyfriend with a grudge because he got dumped and he can't hack it. But he's a prick. Antonio and Pete Shea are in the same club.
Right.
As well as Dell, as well as, what's his name? Savanier. Just trouble causers, negative vibe merchants, not trying to do any good, just trying to cause division because they don't get a slice of the pie and they seem to be jealous for some stupid ass reason.
Just say it as it is, you know. I mean, it's time that this undercurrent of hate is exposed and brought to the wider public, because all they see is a video here and a video there. Obviously, the flat Earth debates is a little bit contentious, but essentially, for the most part, they don't realize the abuse that content creators, especially on the flat Earth side, have to put up with. The constant doxing, people trying to find out where you live, your telephone number, who you're married to, what your parents were, where you were born, what your family's called, how, you know, your children, you know, they're into every single thing, you know, and then they use that against you and they constantly attack you. They send you emails. They're phoning you up in the middle of the night. People don't understand that this is what's going on, you know, and that's behind the scenes, you know, and that's not including what they put on in the side chats and on your comments and other people making videos about you. You know, that has nothing to do with that. That's an additional thing, you know, and they don't think that we're human beings. Oh, we're just human beings. Yeah. And we can just put up with that and we'll just bat it off like it doesn't really matter. It doesn't offend us in any way. Yeah. All these comments mean nothing, you know, most people wouldn't be able to deal with that, you know, and this is what they thrive on. They literally try to break you. What the hell?
Flatball said, I don't get why she shut her channel down though. It's been going on for a long time. That's exactly it. She said it's been going on for 3 years now. And the recent upload from Eric Dubay publicly slandering her and defamating her character was, as she put, the straw that broke the camel's back. When she started looking at the comment section, which she was advised against doing, she noticed that there was people in the comment section that she'd put. I mean, I can't actually get the sentence out without getting a lump in my throat because it's harsh. It's really harsh.
Well, tell
really
it from
harsh.
your side of you, Roxanne. You're a lady in this argument, and I know that you know you've experienced something similar. And to be fair, I mean, who's to say that? I mean, even Orphan Red, yeah. I mean, I don't agree with Orphan Red for some of the stuff that she says, but she's still a female on this side of things, and she's being attacked relentlessly too. Is this a common thread? You know, once you get past maybe 3,000 or 4,000 subscribers, is this what happens? Is this what you...
I had Eric Dubay calling me fake and fraud before I even got to 1,000 subscribers. I somehow popped up on his radar and he was already calling me out as being fake and a fraud. Agreeing with Mr. Cheswick.
Do you know what the worst thing is?
When Mr. Cheswick made a video about me, Eric was all over the comment section, giving him rounds of applause and stuff.
Do you know what the worst thing is? Pete Shea, Antonio, they'll be sat there wanking now because they think they've done something good. But the reality is, all she's done is step back from it because she's sick of the... It's the people in Flat Earth that's the problem. I've said from day one, well, not from day one, but from early on, that if ever I walked away from Flat Earth, it'd be because of Flat Earthers, not because of the ballers. It's horrendous. It's like ridiculous.
Well, her you know, doing what she's done, removing it entirely from social media, has shone a light on what can happen when, you know, you get this amount of trolling from not just, you know, the opposition, but from friendlies, you know. And she was in some way some kind of figurehead. You know, she was the most subscribed to female flat earther, and yet she suffered nothing but abuse from the people that should have been supporting her.
Yeah, that's the point she made as well, that it wasn't coming from the ballers as much, it was as much as the Flat Earth community.
Even most of the ballers even admitted to Patricia that she's been treated terribly and they don't think she's a bloke. I mean, if the ballers agree that you're not a bloke, why is it Flat Earthers seem to think it is? And the answer is because people like Pete Shea keep chanting the mantra of ramshackle vagina, and then Antonio jumps on it. And then that gets passed around, and the more it gets passed around and supported, the more it becomes true. And that's what they do. And that's the reason. So if you're proud, Pete Shea, if you're proud, then you're a dickhead.
And just to be clear here, this isn't conjecture. You know, we've not long been off a call with Patricia. All of us right now in the chat right now, speaking to Patricia, hearing it from her own words.
Yeah.
Right after she did it, explaining the reasons why she did it, you know. And what we're saying now is we're not going to repeat anything that wasn't said. We're not going to make stuff up.
No.
But this is genuinely what she said from the heart. And, you know,
and we also asked if it was okay to do that, and she gave us her permission to do this. We're not talking out of turn right now. She knows full well that we're going to do this. We explained that we weren't going to just be quiet about this. Can't. How can we? How can we know that and not say anything and speak out against it when we can see clearly what's going on?
And we knew that this would cause a rift. We knew it. We knew that, you know, for what we had to do to expose this would expose other Flat Earth channels to the abuse that they've pushed onto Patricia. So by doing that, we have to name them by their channel name, Eric Dubay.
Yeah. I've got to give a massive shout out to your chat room, Ranty. I'm really appreciating all the input from the chat room. There's some brilliant. I'm glad to see we're not on our own with this. There's over 100 people that I can see in your chat room that are really in concurrence with what you're saying. 007 just said the flat earthers who've been attacking flat earthers in capitals are not true globe deniers. They're planted.
Yeah, of course they are. It's one thing.
I've just said the same. Agree totally with that.
Let me just contrast how you can work out whether someone's legitimately on our side or not. Me and Bob don't agree on a topic, right? Me and Bob disagree vehemently. Me and Bob might not be speaking to each other because of this topic, but does it change the fact that we're both on the same side? No.
No.
I might not agree with Bob, and he might not agree with me, but we're disagreeing on something that's absolutely on point, that is not really important. It doesn't matter really to us, but we're just disagreeing on topic. But we're not.
It doesn't take away from the fact that we're not living on what we were taught, and that outer space is a lie.
But we're not doing to each other what people like Pete Shea, Antonio, Dell, Eric DeBay are doing to other people within the community itself. We're just disagreeing on topic, on point. End of sentence. There's no personal element to it.
Yeah.
But what did she do? What did she do to Pete Shea specifically? Right. Let's just target Pete Shea for just a minute here. Right. Yeah. What did Patricia Steere do to Pete Shea?
She probably rejected him when he asked her out when he was drunk.
But is that true, or is it just a joke? I mean, come on, this is pretty serious now.
Well, I agree with Nathan. Pete Shea hates her because he wants to fuck her. That's exactly the way I see it.
Seems fair enough. I mean, he'd have to say that he would feel attracted to her. He wouldn't. She's attractive. That's it. But ultimately, what was his vendetta with her? What caused that? Or was it just some kind of inherent hatred towards women in some way?
Attention seeking.
Yeah, but for what? He's literally been on the scene from when I came on the scene, and he's got 500 subscribers. Nobody watches his shit. I go onto his live debates, and he has 10 people or 5 people watching it, right? Nobody gives a shit about him, but he still thinks he's some kind of, voice in this community where he can just go around slagging people off and calling them transvestites with ramshackled vaginas. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Where's the proof of all this? One man's word, one man who got dumped by Patricia turns around and says, oh, this was born a man. And then, of course, he runs with that. For what reason? What reason has he got to do that? Nobody has a reason to do this.
Constance said, I'm deeply saddened with any and all negative behaviour and words for all the pain and anguish that is caused by the slanders and debasers.
Yeah, and then George says, this claim about some people being agents or paid shills, etc. is nonsense. Some people on both sides love to disrupt and are just nasty trolls. Talk about calling the kettle black there, George.
I've just moderated George there because I think he's actually
a knob,
but proved himself, at least to be.
Punctured Ball said, take their power away by naming and shaming and then unsubbing. Name and shame.
Listen to, we have 3 relatively small channels right here, and basically calling out much bigger channels. Essentially, we're talking about Eric Dubay here. We're talking about Beyond Imaginary Curve and Antonio. Okay, he's got a smaller channel, but his fan base is quite large. So essentially, this is going to create issues going forward. But it all becomes to the point of, do you support people that support each other and work together to try and find the truth, or would you rather that every person who does a content and has a channel never speaks or works with another content creator ever, because they all believe that you should be doing this on your own. You should all figure out the truth on your own. You don't need any help from anybody. And that's their mantra. If you check any of the channels, that's what they all believe. But from our side, we all believe in working together, and trying to find the truth. And yet they will target people that are trying to bring people together. Patricia only tried to bring people together. She wanted to give a platform to people, small channels that had just started off on the flat earth, to give them a platform and basically expose them to a bigger audience. That's what her channel was about. It was about connecting people, and they targeted her for that. Pure and simple.
Can you do Spirit of the Longthorn a favour? Brilliantly put, name names, offer evidence, and let people decide for themselves. Simple. So can we at least do that within
Tony.
this live hangout and make sure that on a playback, because I will mirror this on my channel as well. If we can make sure that we deliver all of that so that people can watch this and go and make their own minds up about what they should do and give all of the above evidence. I don't know how you guys are going to play that out, but I think this is going to be kind of surplus to requirement if you don't.
Tony, I'll let you take this part over.
I'm prepared to stay up and do this, guys, if you are, because I feel that we owe it to the truth of the matter of what's going on here. I'm not sweeping over the carpet anymore.
Tony,
what is it you're asking?
Tony, listen, please don't interact with the chat. Forget George for right now. Please just address Roxanne's request.
I didn't catch the request.
Okay, so Spirit of the Longthorn aptly put into the chat, name names, offer evidence, and let people decide for themselves. If this is live, as it is now, Flat Earth trolls the reason Patricia closed her channel, then, guys, that kind of has to be done.
Right, so is this limited to just Patricia?
Well, that is really what this piece of content is about. The reason it says in the title, Ranty, the reason Patricia closed her channel. So can we give the names, evidence, and let people decide for themselves, as Spirit of the Longthorn said?
Let's talk about Eric Dubé. Tony, fire away. What did he do?
With regards to Patricia? I don't know. I don't watch Eric Dubé's work. I can just.
Are you able to share it for the viewers? Are you able to screen share? Are we able to play a clip without getting a copyright strike? What are our limitations here, guys? Like, how far can we go with the evidence? Is there anything you can show from this Antonio character and give evidence of what we're talking about? This is serious stuff. This is defamation of character and major slander.
Okay,
so
Roxanne,
can we give a little example?
Okay, Roxanne, well, how about we go back to what you was going bananas at before? A guy that had for 3 months run you around the block, only to find out that he was working in league with Eric Dubé and then released a video insulting Patricia.
It's the same video that's the straw that broke the camel's back for Patricia. I feel like that's probably a better addition after we address how we got there with Patricia, because I only managed to say that to Patricia once the penny had dropped about what she was talking about, because it's me doing that's in the wrong order, if that makes sense. Does it make sense? If I say that, it's a bit, it's going to confuse the picture, if that makes sense, because in real time, I didn't clock that until after she'd said what she'd said.
Yeah, but that's fine, as long as you still know that that was part of.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, that's why I'm here, my friend. That is why I'm here. Okay, so I've got a situation. This is a massive conflict of interest for me. Again, I've been pulled into the mire and found myself in the middle of a situation that I most definitely do not want to be in. Unknowingly to me, I'm collaborating with someone that's collaborating with Savannah and doing a hate track with people that I communicate and I'm friends with. So go figure. Where does that leave me in all of this? And I don't mean just me. It's not even about me, you know. Where does that leave the position of what I'm doing at Speaker's Corner? When I'm standing right beside someone at Speaker's Corner who's made a track with Eric Dubé, publicly slandering and defamating the character of someone I'm friends with. Like, help on that one. Answers on a postcard or in an email, operationrealness@yahoo.com. I could use all the advice I could get right about now, because I've been collaborating with this individual for 3 months and they didn't think to occur to tell me at any point, or anyone else that we're communicating with, about 30 odd people, that he's collaborating and doing a track with Mr. Savannah himself, who I'm public enemy number one as far as he's concerned, along with a lot of other people. So as Patricia is telling us this, it's unfolding and becoming quite clear to me that we've got a massive conflict of interest where the ramifications for this run very deep. Jason of the Disbury spent an incredible amount of time facilitating things for said person. And obviously you already know that we've got a conflict of interest with Eric Dubé from last year with John Smith Globeli, which I still stand by to this day. Stand strong, solid with Harry, shoulder to shoulder on that. Not going to ever change my mind on that.
If you remember, Patricia said to us in the chat that when she was a really, really low subbed flat earther, way under 2,000 subscribers, Eric Dubé got in touch and then made a hit piece against her. Was that correct?
Yep.
And let's move on to Antonio. Tony, you might be the guy to speak to about this.
Yeah,
You
I've
know
got
more
no
about
comment.
it.
I don't know anything about that, so I can't input nothing to do with that.
Well, I think everyone knows the background. They dated for a while. She left. Antonio got butthurt. But for the next 2-3 years, Antonio wouldn't let it go. And rather than just accept he was dumped and move on, he started up a vendetta of hate. And stupid people like Dan W and all the people that go into Antonio's chat know that she's not a know that she's not a male. She doesn't have a penis. She doesn't do this. She doesn't do that. She doesn't do the other. But for some reason, they've got this morbid curiosity where they just want to hear it, and they want to hear it and hear it and hear it and spread it and encourage that nonsense. I've told Dan W numerous times that Antonio's no more of an authority than NASA is. When we laugh at NASA, he should be laughing at Antonio, but for some reason, Dan W thinks Antonio's great. Next thing is he's out buying him Chinese, and I'm like, do you know what, Dan? You are a bit of a Burke. But Antonio just wouldn't let it go. And he's part of it. He's part of the reason why she's left. And I don't blame her.
And the cause being that, you know, they dated.
He should be ashamed. He should be ashamed.
Yeah, they dated for a time, and this was years ago now, and he's continuously, at least probably every 6 weeks or so, mentioned, you know, the gender of Patricia, like, you know, it's some kind of fact, when it's nothing of the sort. I mean, you can clearly just look at her and you know that she's a lady. You don't have to be a genius to realize she's a lady. And he's spreading rumors saying that she's a bloke, but yeah, apparently he had sex with her. I mean, it makes no sense, you know. And
but he's only half the problem. If you're into Antonio and you're in his chats and you're sat there just lapping it up when he starts talking his nonsense, you are part of the problem too.
And the thing is, I mean, every person that we're talking about here has their own influences and their own approach to spreading the flat Earth truth. I believe Antonio's got some kind of book in the offing. It might even be out right now. But ultimately, you know, he's done this sun tracking stuff. So there's potential there for him to be a good flat earther. And yet...
No, there's never potential for him to be a good flat earther. He's ruined that opportunity. He had it when he was with Patricia and he fucked it up.
Yeah, but you're taking your own personal opinion into this. Let's forget that and push it to one side for the moment and just say that his research techniques could have been potentially great for flat Earth, but he spoils it with the way that he abuses that position to attack another flat earther. Like, it's okay, they were in a relationship. He's taken offense to that. He had at one time a bigger subscriber base than she did, and he used that to send his people essentially over to Patricia's channel and called her all the names under the sun, which set off a motion. It literally set off a motion that other people picked up on, and they then ran with that. Oh yeah, Patricia's a tranny, Patricia's this, Patricia's that, blah, 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 blah. And he was the instigator in all of this. If we're going to call out anybody, of all the people we're going to talk about right now, Antonio's the one.
And Pete Shea.
And then Pete Shea ran with it, yeah. And Pete Shea never shut up.
And Eric Dubé. So all three. Eric Dubé was the straw that broke the camel's back with her.
Yeah, and let's not forget the other people that are divisive in this as well. Dastardly Dell, as he gets the nickname from Tim. I don't get it. I don't get it.
For Spirit of the Longthorn, I say this because Spirit of the Longthorn's a mod. Flat Earth Troll is the reason Patricia closed her channel. Can you get to the point? I'm thinking we are there. We're at the point and we're now discussing the point. I don't know if I've got that wrong.
Who said that? Sorry, I'm sorry.
Spirit of the Longthorn. Evidence.
Evidence.
Spirit of the Longthorn.
No, this is why we think some people don't have evidence, right? Okay, so Spirit of the Longthorn. We literally just got off a call with Patricia, who spilled her
evidence
heart.
Is Eric's. Have you seen Eric's video? That's the evidence. That's the straw that broke the camel's back. We just had a conversation with her. If you take a look at Savannah's most recent upload, Fight the Flat Earth, go and pleasure yourself for a few minutes. Anyone in the chat room will be here when you come back. Go and have a look. It's disgusting.
Right, listen, guys, I've got to be up early in the morning, so I need to retire to the boudoir for the evening. So I shall leave you guys in peace.
No worries.
See you in a bit, Tony.
Adios, things.
Adios, things.
Yeah, I mean, like a couple of days ago,
the camel's back was Eric. That's the point that Patricia got to, was that the straw that broke the camel's back was the upload from Eric and the comments on said upload.
And the problem was, I mean, she'd seen the video, and then she went and she spoke to Mark Sargent, and she'd basically just said, look, I'm at that point now where essentially I just want to just end everything on my channel, just go away and just forget about Flat Earth. And she told him the reasons why. And when he had the opportunity to speak to a big audience about that and, maybe garner some kind of support and somebody to put their arms around it, all he did was he mitigated the how severe that affected her, and basically said, oh, she's just not too happy with the trolling. He didn't go into any kind of details or call any kind of channel out, unlike what we're doing right now, calling channels out. Mark didn't do that. And he was fully aware, because Patricia basically broke down. And she did even say, she said the only time that she's ever cried about Flat Earth was when Mark, on his last podcast, didn't portray, all the abuse that she'd had and relay that to his audience. She thought that he would be able to shed light on the abuse that she was going through and how sad and low she was feeling. And he had that opportunity, he didn't do it. And she said that was the only time that I actually cried about, over Flat Earth. That was the only time. So Mark, you need to phone that lady, and you need to mend some bridges there.
I've just pasted the link for Eric's video in the chat room.
Okay.
As well.
Anyway, 51 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I think we've said all we need to say. Just a very sad day. I'm personally really, really upset. And I hope going forward, if anybody sees any kind of bullying or tactics like this from people, they just don't put up with it. We don't need this. We already have enough going on in our personal life anyway, without having all this trolling that happens on, on our lives on the Flat Earth on this topic. It morphs into our personal life when people start to dox you and phone you up and harass you, let alone all the stuff that you put up with online. I mean, come on, you have to appreciate where we're coming from as content creators here, guys, right? Yeah. You just talk in the side chat. You've just got a little tappy tap on the computer, on the keyboard. We have this in real life, and it really affects us, and I feel sorry for Patricia and sorry for Flat Earth. And Roxanne, if there's anything you want to add before I close the stream down now.
I feel that this topic about the place we live, the shape of what we've been taught this place is, the content creator community lacks severely a female presence. And I am just incredibly somber that we've lost one of the biggest female channels in this very, very important topic. And that's where I stand on this. I'm gutted, absolutely gutted, that one of the biggest channels in this truth movement is the one that attacked her. Gutted. Absolutely gutted.
And on that, I'll say thank you for everybody stopping by. I'm sorry I didn't get to shout every one of your names out right now.
Yeah, massive shout out to the chat room. Massive loads of people. I can see 132 people watching right now, and there's been a lot of productive input in the chat room, which I'm massively appreciative for. And thanks for having me on, Renty. Cheers.
No worries. And thanks to all the people that supported the channel with the super chats. Again, I do appreciate it, really, I do. But, going forward, as a community, I would really like everybody to pull together, support the channels that you actually like. Yeah. It doesn't have to be financial. It doesn't. It can be
morally, moral support.
Simple as clicking the like button. Literally, as simple as clicking the like button. That's all it takes. because
And
as content
subscribing and
yeah,
remembering to subscribe to the channel as well, and hit the notification bell. I know we're up against it against YouTube, but I strongly suggest even people that are in the chat room, press a 1 if you're a content maker, so that on a playback, people know that you're an actual content maker. And if you are, I'm happy to go back through the chat room and sub everyone. So shout out to all the content makers out there. If you are one, put a 1 in the chat room and fling a 1 in the comment section as well, if you're a content maker, and let's try and sub up and link up and push forward.
And with that, I'll say goodbye to everyone, and I will see you. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll wait for 25 seconds, 30 seconds. Just let everybody put the 1s in, because I don't want to end it right now.
Brilliant. Shout out all the content makers in the chat room right about now. Let's all sub each other up. Everyone give everyone a sub. Check each other out. At least give each other the grace of a few pieces of content before you make your mind up. But everyone give everyone a sub, and have a look at everyone's content. And let's not all assume that we're all subbed to the same channels, because myself, Ranty, and Sleeping Warrior all felt the wrath of that with the first Global Eye tour, when we all just assume everyone knows everyone, and that's not the case. So yeah, and if you're watching this on a playback, please do so, and also put your 2 cents forth about what the topic matter has been this evening. We've lost a massive channel in the truth movement, one of the biggest female channels in the community, and I think it's absolutely horrendous as to why it's happened. It can't let this happen to another female in the online content community as far as this subject's concerned, again.
And one last thing, honestly, guys, if you're going to be a troll, do expect that I will just immediately ban you from my chat right now, because essentially this is a subject that's very dear to my heart. I've seen a lot of channels that suffer this abuse. I suffer this abuse. I know how hard it is for people to to carry on doing what they're doing, right? In the most difficult of circumstances, because we get it from all sides. It really is. And guys, just think about what you're doing to another human when you say what you're saying and the things that you do. Try to be better people. It doesn't take a lot. I always try to live my life as a better person. I don't try to go out of my way to hurt anybody. And those people that do really need to take a look at themselves and think, what the hell are they actually doing? And with that, guys, look, I'm going to end this right now. Thanks everybody, Roxanne and Sleeping Warrior, for stopping by. All the people that donated in the super chat, thank you very much. And yeah, bye bye, Patricia. Everyone. We miss you, and we will, we'll never replace you, but the movement will continue. And yeah, for now, we'll see you in the next one.
Take care. Bye.